Hey guys, this is Matt Core from Ctrl+Paint.com, and today let's paint a rock study. This is going to be broken up into 3 videos because it is a deeper subject than you might imagine. In the second video, we're going to add in details, a little bit of polish, and then in the third video, we'll add a little bit of texture. But today's the video I really want to focus on, because what we're going to talk about is how to prepare for a study, why to do them in the first place, and setting up the canvas. So if this is my final goal here, you can see that it's not a portfolio piece. It is just me studying a rock. That's it. It's me learning about the rock. But this is not just a rock. And that is the first important point. Because if I type in rock to Google image search, I'm just as likely to get pictures of rock and roll as I am to get what I'm looking for. So really it all comes down to actually knowing the specific name of the thing that I want to paint. And odds are you don't necessarily know what the name is. So the first step is actually a little bit of research. I know I want to paint a rock of some sort, but I'm no rock expert. So where I usually go first is Wikipedia. So here we have a list of rock types. That's literally the title of this article. And at a quick scan, I can learn a few things. First is that there's categories of rocks, like igneous or sedimentary, or the really interesting one, metamorphic. And here we see some basic examples. And maybe I'll learn more about the category called metamorphic. Here they have these interesting swirls, which I have since learned that's because you have one type of rock, like sedimentary, that then gets compressed or that gets heated up with seismic activity and literally converts into another type of rock. And in the process, sometimes you get these interesting layers. Very cool. So now I know something about rocks. So what I decide I want to study is slate. And I want to be able to know slate better so that when I need to imagine it for future illustrations, I'll be able to rely on realistic details and not just making stuff up. So back to Google image search we go. If I just type in slate, let's see what happens. Well, this is not exactly what I was looking for. As you can see, there's different meanings for the word slate, including the thing that you start shooting movies with and things that you write with chalk on. And of course, slate roofs. None of these are what we want. But we know some more specific terms now. I know offhand that slate is a metamorphic rock. So I can type in metamorphic slate rock. Let's see what I get. This is much better. These are things that would be very helpful for painting. So maybe to make it even more useful, I will open up the size filter here and go for large images, because I know that these are going to have more resolution to work with, which gives me more detail for my painting. So I like this one right here. This gives me a lot of specific detail. So now that it's in Photoshop, my goal is not to reproduce this exactly. It's not like a perfect still life painting. Really what I'm trying to do is just learn important lessons about slate. What makes this rock look different from other rocks? So part of it will involve me looking very closely and seeing how edges are sharp, or if they're dull, all the little surface texture. But first off, I just need to block it in. So I'll actually move my reference off the screen onto my other monitor, and that allows me a little more space to work on my actual study. And if you've watched any of the other Let's Paint videos, this canvas prep is going to look pretty familiar. I start by making a sketch. After that, I can use that sketch as a guideline to use a lasso tool to make a selection, marching ants, and once I have a selection there, I can make a layer group and turn that selection into a mask. And all this does is it says any of the layers that I paint inside of this group will stay in the lines. Easy. The final step for preparing my painting is to just block in the basic colors, because after this I'm going to start getting very specific. So it's important to get those initial values correct first, and then you won't waste time later. So in the following videos, we will talk about making this a much more polished, refined rock. But I can't stress enough how important this first step was. Knowing the name, the exact name of something you want to study, gets you much better reference. So if the topic of visual research or using reference materials is new to you, I have a number of videos linked at the bottom of the post that I encourage you to watch. Because even though it might not seem like it, topics like visual research are just as important as brush technique. If what you want to do is paint something well, you have to know what it is you're painting. So stay tuned for future videos, and thanks for coming to the site.